Still in Wollongong, tomorrow the ratepayers will get to elect their municipal councillors after a 3-year hiatus. The council was sacked following the Wollongong dirty, sexy money property scandal and administrators appointed. Now, in a case of art imitating life, the drama has reached the stage and the lead characters have their names in lights once more. Antoinette Collins reports.
It's opening night at the Illawarra Performing Arts Centre, and there's a sense of nervous anticipation, especially for one of the so-called stars.
How are you feeling ahead of tonight's performance?
Well, it's mostly a bit cathartic coming along and watching played out on a stage the events that occurred many years ago.
As General Manager, I was in a position to provide direction to the whole Council based on my strong desire for Wollongong to be recognised as a major regional city.
Rod Oxley, the character, has taken the stage in a play based entirely on first-hand accounts of the corruption that engulfed Wollongong Council.
I became convinced that for the city to grow, it required people to have a clear vision, a strong commitment to leadership and a preparedness to take some entrepreneurial risks.
It was just over 3 years ago that the former General Manager was playing a supporting role at another headline event, the ICAC inquiry investigating systemic corruption associated with Wollongong Council.
The inquiry into Wollongong's Sex for Development scandal has found that former council planner...
The star of this show was Wollongong town planner Beth Morgan, who the ICAC found had affairs with several developers whose projects she'd given favourable assessments. It was salacious then, and it whet the appetite of artists.
Ms Beth Morgan, in 2004 you had relationships with Frank Vella, Glenn Tabak and Michael Kalaris.
Yes.
Did you think you'd have any trouble assessing their development applications whilst you're in those relationships?
I didn't think I would have, but I don't know what I was thinking at the time.
So what attracted us to this particular scandal was the sex angle in the way that other media was attracted, but also we thought there must be more to it than that.
Did you receive handbags?
Yes.
How many?
A few.
Were they designer handbags, expensive?
I don't think they were real.
No, they were copies.
Beth Morgan, developer Frank Vella and a number of other developers and council staff were found by the Commission to have engaged in corrupt conduct. So too was Rod Oxley.
Look, what happened back when the findings were handed down, we can't overlook, but we've got to move on from there. The only thing I'd say, in my case, there was no charges that were suggested I needed to face.
The inquiry revealed that on several occasions, Mr Oxley met with developers at the North Beach kebab shop, at what became known as the Table of Knowledge. No charges were recommended, but the Commission said the actions of the former council CEO
increased the likelihood of corrupt conduct occurring and was conduct that was liable to allow, encourage or cause the occurrence of corrupt conduct.
It certainly had a devastating effect initially. To have a finding such as the one that was against me is not pleasant at all. But I've got through that, and that's over 3 years ago now, and I'm strong enough and willing enough and committed enough to now look towards coming back into public office again, and that's why I'm standing for Lord Mayor.
Since 2008, the council has been run by government-appointed administrators, but tomorrow the locals will have the chance to democratically elect a new council, and Rod Oxley is hoping he'll be back in the top job as mayor.
I think I've learnt something from those past experiences, but I'm still the same person in a lot of ways. I've still got a passion for the city. I've still got a very strong view that the city needs to grow and develop in a way that's going to be providing for our future.
Standing for Lord Mayor.
Independent Vicky Curran is one of 11 others to run against Rod Oxley for the position of Lord Mayor.
Wollongong's more than ready to elect a new council because we need to involve the community and to empower the community to make decisions and to get on board with confidence, with great leadership, to take Wollongong forward. We've been held back by the corruption, we've been held back by administrators that were state government appointed. Community's been put aside. We haven't been consulted, considered, and now's our time.
But she's concerned the play will trivialise the scandal, particularly in the lead-up to the election.
I must admit I'm a little bit worried that they'll lighten it far too much, that they'll draw just on the sex for development, and the corruption in Wollongong was so much more than that.
Mr Vella, did you take Ms Morgan on a trip to Perisher August 2005?
Yes.
Did you pay for that?
Yes.
Was that in one way saying thank you?
No, the trip had a purpose. I had a business dealing and the balance was recreational.
What was Beth Morgan's presence there to do with business?
She'd never been skiing.
You know, I don't think it's going to have a big impact really on people's decisions. Like, I think people know, you know, if they're passionate about voting, I think they know who they want to vote for. I think the show itself is actually just, it's kind of like it's a reminder. It's keeping the conversation open about probably the future of this city more than anything.
Did you provide building materials, home renovations, carpet and floorboards?
I provided a bench top, a light and some architraves.
Carpet and floorboards?
No carpet and no floorboards.
He supplied floorboards.
Free of cost?
Yes, he did.
This ensemble production is based on extensive research of media and inquiry transcripts, as well as Rod Oxley's book, Named and Shamed.
Certainly there is a soap opera dimension to this story, and yes, it would be very easy to transplant that to the stage more or less unchanged. We have used quite a lot of artistry to shape that, but we don't want to give the audience just what they already know. What is your full name?
The actors say they're not interested in playing caricatures, despite some of the more bizarre and comical twists to the story.
The things we do for love. She's not the first person to do something stupid because maybe she thought she was experiencing a grand love affair, and she probably was to some degree. So for her to sort of lose, to have the sort of bare bones of Frank Vella thrown at her in the stand, I think that would have been absolutely, to realise how implicated he was in lots of things that were going on for her, that she thought he was an ally with her, and finding out that he wasn't an ally.
I didn't think it was my place.
He was just caught in a set of circumstances that just tumbled out of control and led to a disastrous outcome. And in that respect, it's a Greek tragedy.
Once you've been named, publicly humiliated, and had untested findings made against you that you can't fight, it's very hard to change people's minds, to tell everyone, no, that was nonsense. Perception becomes reality, and we're tarnished for life.
Look, it's going to be up to the community to judge me for how they see me and what qualities I might have, and whether or not the past is going to influence their thinking about what the future should be.
Rod Oxley might be trying to distance himself from the past, but can he?
7:30 spoken to a resident of Fairy Meadow, one of Wollongong's northern suburbs. He said that just 6 weeks ago, he and two others saw Rod Oxley, Joe Shimoni and Kirill Janowski meet here at this cafe for lunch, in what he jokingly called the Table of Knowledge 2.
The Table of Knowledge has reconvened. It also poses the question, has corruption in council hibernated since this all broke back in 2008?
Greg Petty is also in the mayoral race, backed by former state politician and anti-corruption campaigner John Hatton.
It's not a problem to have coffee. The issue is association for people that have been mentioned in ICAC. Has the Table of Knowledge reconvened? Will it reconvene after the election?
Yeah, I have. I've had a cup of coffee with them. Janowski was charged and found to be not guilty of lying to the ICAC. Shimoni's a person I don't have much contact with him, but we sat around, had a cup of coffee, we've chewed the fat, we've gone over the old times. There's still some residual issues that we need to resolve along the line, and we discuss those from time to time.
Should voters be concerned that you're still meeting with these people? Do they have anything to worry about from that?
Absolutely not. In terms of myself, anyway, you know, I'm a very honest person. I was never found to have an adverse finding in relation to my honesty. My finding was really that I could have created a culture which led to others engaging in corrupt conduct, whatever that might mean. So I don't have any qualms about that.
Well done, yes, brilliant.
Back at the theatre, and the reviews are positive.
Yes, I enjoyed it very, very much.
Even the man with the most to lose scored it well.
I'd mostly give it 7 out of 10. I enjoyed parts of it, I cringed at other parts of it.
He's hoping the voters won't be cringing when they judge him at the polling booth.
And we'll be watching with interest. The Table of Knowledge now folklore. Antoinette Collins with that report.